Now, in today's lecture, we're going to focus on two very important topics that are very commonly used in your DevOps. One is cloud formation, and the other one is ops work, right? So these are the tools that you will technically not only use in your DevOps, you will use in your day-to-day operation, you will use this in service delivery, right? Hence, we'll be focusing on cloud formation and ops work. And these are the very popular tools that are used in the industry, and they will ask you in the interview also, right? So we'll first start with ops work, and then we will work with cloud formation. Now what AWS has done is AWS, instead of inventing their own operational work tools to automate manual operational work, right? Repeated tasks, L1 and L2, L3 automation, right? They thought instead of inventing their own, right, instead giving support to popular tools that exist in the market today. And some of the very popular tools are Puppet. The other one is Chef, right? So we will start with Puppet and Chef first. Usually it takes about 20 minutes to create. So we'll quickly create this and then do theory, and then we will come back and explore the tool. So this you can do it on EC2 also. Eventually you should think OpsWork is an overlay over an EC2 instance. It is an overlay over an EC2 instance. You can directly go to EC2 and you can launch, but they have created a unique graphical experience for you to launch automation tool. But remember, if you launch it on EC2, you have to manage it yourself. If you launch it here, Amazon will manage it for you, right? The story remains the same. You have infrastructure guy who will build the Puppet server, master server, Chef master server, and then you have functional guys who will write script. So unfortunately, the administrative guys who set up this automation environment is automated. So we do not need administrators there. However, the functional guys who write workflows, runbook automation, their jobs are still relevant here. I'm going to call this Chef server, and this is not available in Mumbai, and these are the only regions that are available. But the best thing is, whichever region that you launch, you can administrate EC2 instances across. And remember, OpsWork is only designed for EC2. This is not something that you can integrate with any other services to automate. You cannot integrate this with your database such as RDS, right? Your CloudWatch, Docker, S3, all this will not get integrated with. This is specifically designed to automate your EC2. Now the question is, so how do you automate other aspects of AWS? Now to do that, we have CloudFormation, which is also known as Terraform in outside AWS world. What Terraform does is what AWS CloudFormation does. So I'm going to set up this environment in Virginia. Now there's no micro instance available, and therefore this is not free. But if you see the screen here, right, there are three instance options that are available, right? The first one is M4 extra large, and this comes with 8 GB of RAM, which is enough to support 200 nodes, right? I will explain you the relationship, how the system would work. Let me go ahead and quickly create this. Just remember that Chef supports 200 nodes with 8 GB RAM. Where is my Excel sheet? Chef 8 GB 200 nodes. And different sizes also available, right? In case if you have 2000 workloads, then you can create 4 of this or 3 of this. Continue. I'm simply going to select my SSH key that I already have here. That I created for EC2 instance, because as I told you before, this will be deployed in the EC2. Next, on which network that you want to deploy, VPC, what subnet that you want to deploy on. Would you like to associate a public IP address? Yes, you need that. This you leave it default. It'll automatically create a security group for you, like it did in Beanstack. It'll create a security group for you. It'll open all the necessary ports that are needed here. Now more and more AWS is doing this. Previously in ops work, excuse me, in cloud, sorry, code deploy, Elastic Container Service, Code Commit, some of the other services where we had to create a role first and then associate with the environment and come back and do the lab. Now more and more services are showing up with this. Basically what it does is it will automatically create a role for you. You don't have to create it. System knows what necessary permissions that it needs, and therefore it will create a role for you. Instance profile, it will tag the instance here. We will not do anything. System maintenance every Thursday between 9 to 10 a.m. UTC. It does all the hygiene work, right? Patches update, security packages update, minute version upgrades. All that this will be taken care of because there is no administrative work here. There's only a functional work that exists. Likewise, if you schedule it, it'll automatically take the backup in the predefined time, right? So this is the time that you have. You can put daily frequency, you can put weekly frequency here, and you can define on what day you want to take a backup at what time, right? Number of generations to keep, right? If you say 10, it'll keep 10 sessions of this, and on the 11th session it will delete the first session, right? So if you don't need this, you can say no. It'll not take any backup. Next, again, a quick summary, and that's it. Lunch. So I was talking to one of my students the other day, and it's so funny that after the entire training is done, I asked him, how was your training experience, right? What did you learn from AWS and what was your takeaway from AWS? And one funny thing he said, I still remember, he said, sir, the entire training was just a DDP work, right? I said, okay, what is a DDP work? How is your DDPs related to building an infrastructure here? And he said, for everything I had to fill a form, right? And in fact, he was right, whether it's an EC2, whether it's a database, whether you did Docker, ops work, right? DevOps, anything, any services that you consume, you end up only filling forms like I did right now. I filled up all the forms and it is provisioning the service. And in fact, it is true, right? If you could go back and think all the labs that you have done, all you have done is you have filled the forms, right? It is starting up right now, and as you could see, it says 20 minutes here. So while it is doing its thing, I can either download these credentials or I can either copy the credentials over here. Let me copy the credentials here. So while the chef is getting prepped up, let me go back and create Puppet also. Add a Puppet server. Now, if you notice here, right, this supports 450 nodes with 4 GB RAM. If you go back here, right, it is only taking 4 GB RAM instance and it is supporting 450 nodes. So when you compare from a resource consumption perspective, Puppet is far more slimmer, right? It gives more mileage for the amount of resources that you throw at it. Again, the same thing that I will do here. Now, one thing that you see extra here is configure Puppet Code Manager. So what does this mean? This means that Puppet guys have already automated a lot of things. They have hundreds of customers, thousands of customers that they're consuming this to automate tasks. Right? So what they have done is they have learned from a lot of use cases and they have pre-created scripts for you. And if you happen to have a Puppet Enterprise paid subscription, then you can connect to their repository and you will get access to all the pre-written automation. Next, this is the exact same thing that I explained you a moment ago. No backup is needed. And then next, and I will create it. Right, the same thing I have to do. I can either download the credentials or I can copy this and I can save it elsewhere. Are you guys are with me so far? Please add in the group. Sure, I'll add you in this group, Gokul. Okay, now let's play a simple game while this is setting up. Right? So this is manager, right? And let's say user 1, user 2, user 3, user 4. So what a manager does is, if a manager has a project or a work, right? What this manager does is it will take that work, divide this into a smaller task, and delegate this to different users here. Some work will go here, some work will go here, someone will go here, some work here and here, right? This is how typical office work would work, right? Then the managers will have collections of managers where there's one head on top of it. That guy will take the work and then he will delegate this work to other managers there, right? And the hierarchy will continue like that. We call this as a pyramid hierarchy, right? Now in case of an automation, it exactly works the same way. Think this manager is your puppet or chef, right? And think this users as nodes as an EC2 instances, right? So anything, if a manager has to talk or an automation engine has to log in, it can log into any of the server here and can delegate a task. It can say, okay, install MySQL database. It can say upgrade the version. It can say change the password, right? It can say do the log rotation. So that is the exact same hierarchy your automation engine would work. So what we have done is we have created a manager here, or we have created a master node, right? So we created a master node, both chef and puppet, and all you have to do is create the slave nodes, right? And then you connect it to them. So any instructions that you pass through a manager or a master node, that will be obliged by your slave nodes, and the action will be executed on them. Are you clear so far? Okay. Now why this is important? Why am I making such a big deal out of it, right? So let's say we have environment, right? Let's say you have not 100. Okay, let's take 100 EC2 instances that we have, right? You have to do 3 shifts a day. You have to do 3 shifts a day. In 1 week, 3 into 7, 21. 21 shifts you have to cover in a week. How many people do you think you need here? To manage this 100 server, you have daily 3 shifts that you need to cover, and overall 21 shifts you have. So how many people do you think you need here? Have you seen my videos before, Mahesh? right? So Mahesh is 9, or correct, 9, right? So how did you arrive to 9? So what you'll put 333 people, huh? So what, 100 divided by 3? I'm not understanding your calculation. Okay, let me explain you, right? See, some of the considerations that you have to do is, first thing is you have to know that one guy can only work 8 hours a day into 5 days. That is the first consideration. Now the second consideration is you always need to have a backup, because your primary guy might have to take a leave. He might have to go to his hometown. He's getting married, he's sick, right? And third thing is you need to be technology agnostic, right? Though it's an EC2 instance, some might have database, some might have some application, some might have something else. So there's a technology diversification that you need to have, right? So the way you factor this is, right, on an average, a bare minimum, you need 2 guys in the shift, right? So 2 into 5 into 3, right? 2, 4, 6 people are gone for 5 days, and you have 3 more people left, right, as part of this calculation, right? I think Shiva said 8, someone said 10, right? So Zohrul said 8, right? So 8 is also a right answer, 9 is also a right answer, 10 is also a right answer. The reason why, because your bare minimum, you're factoring that you have more than 2 people in the shift. In some shifts you will have 3 people. On weekends you will have on-call support, right? So mostly this is the cycle that you will have. These are the considerations that you will do before you create a roster for an entire week. So with that said, we will take 9 people here, right? Let's take people cost. People cost, right? So on an average, you will have L2, L3, you can have L1 also, right? So give me an average number. So let's make this 10, just to keep it simple. Let's make this 10, and I will say on an average you will have 8 lakh, someone will take 6 lakh CTC, someone will take 10 lakh CTC. Just to keep this math simple, we will take 10 people with 8 lakh CTC, that will fall into 80 lakh category, right? Now instead of 100, if I have 10 and I have still 3 shifts to cover, 21 shifts in a week, how many people do you think I would need? Now for 100 servers, how many people do you think I would need? Two is wrong answer. 3 is also wrong. Zorul 6. Zorul is pretty close. Pranit is also 6, pretty close. Divi 6. You still need 10 people, guys. The server has shrunk down, right? Will you do 12 hours of shift? You will still do 8 hours of shift. You still work 5 days a week. You still need leaves, right? So this is the same thumb rule. You need to have minimum 2 people in a shift. So 6 people, right, covering all 5 days, and 3 people overlapping. Some people will work on weekends on call support, right? And then in some shift you will have 1 guy, in some shift you will have 3 people. So even if it is 10 server, you need 10 people. What if we have 1 server? What if you have 1 server only? How many do you think you would need? Mahesh 9. Mahesh is also right. Pranit is also right. Right? 9 to 10 people. This will not change. Even if the server is one, boss, you're working for 8 hours. You have wife and kids. You have to go home. Right? If you're doing night shift, you have to go home in the day. If you're doing day shift, you have to go home in the night. So it is still so much. What if you have 1000 servers? Still 3 shifts you have to cover. 21. How many people do you think you need? It says 10. No. If 100 people can be managed by 10, then do you think 1000 server can be managed by 10 people? Mostly not. And you will not change this to 100. 100 is also wrong answer. 100 is also wrong answer, right? So mostly you will have 30 people here managing over 1000 workloads. If the workloads are increasing, it does not mean you start increasing people. There's a cost involved there, right? And you have to also factor how many tickets you get in the shift, right? And how many repeated tasks you have, right? Some shifts you'll have very busy, some you'll have with Chef and Puppet. This is without Chef and Puppet, and I'm talking about 30 people, right? Without Chef and Puppet, I'm talking about 30 people. With Chef and Puppet, you need far fewer people. So 80, 160, 240. 2.4 CR you need just to manage this support. Now let's see how automation is doing here. Automation. And automation, let's take the calculation here. So they're giving 150 server calculation here. So this is for one server per hour. Let me open calculator. So this is per hour into 24 for one day I will take. This is for one day into 7. This is for 1 week into 52 for 1 year. So 148,512 is for 1 year. So currency converter. Dollar. So 148. I'll make it 149. Right? About 10,776. I'll make 10,800. Or let's take 10,000 for a simplification of calculation. So for one server to manage for 1 year, automation will charge 10K. Here you're paying 80 lakhs, right? So for 100 server, 1 lakh. Right? For 100 server, it is 10 lakhs. And this will be 30 lakhs. Are you with me so far? So that is why automation is taking over our jobs. All the work that we do manually required to be automated, required to be put together. You're getting my point here. So in this game, people versus automation, automation won. And that is why I say you need 4 things to succeed in your life, right? Operating system, such as Linux, Windows. Second is cloud, right? So I'm confident that after you have completed learning AWS, you will go sign up an Azure account, and what you have learned here, right? You will take this learning and you'll apply there, and you will also learn Azure yourself. DevOps. And then finally, automation. So this is the mantra that you need to chant now. And if you see anywhere on the internet, any job description, any job description that you see, These are the 4 common things that they will ask in your resume. You getting my point? So here, Chef, Puppet, Ansible, Salt, right? So this tool, so if you go to Chef, Puppet or any of the training here, most in the training they will teach you how to install, how to configure and how to build this. Now that work is automated on AWS, right? That work is automated on AWS. So there's no point of learning automation administration. You have to learn automation functional, right? So when you say functional, what language you need to run? JSON, YAML, Ruby, right? Python. Now don't get confused, because a lot of students come back and say, why should I learn Python when I'm learning Ansible, right? They do not know the difference here. These are all engines. These are all languages. So those of you who do not know, by just learning Python, I can use any of these engines to do automation by just one Python language. So likewise, by learning YAML, a lot of people say YAML is exclusive to Ansible. The answer is incorrect. There are libraries for Puppet and Chef. Chef is known for Ruby, but it supports Python and YAML also, right? So if you learn YAML, then you can use any of the automation engine here, right? Likewise, JSON or Ruby, right? All this is just an engine and they support all of this language. And in fact, .NET support is also available for this. That means you can now automate your workflows by .NET automation. The libraries are available for all this engine. So don't get confused in the market that Ansible is superior or Puppet is superior or some engine is superior, right? Because when you go to an interview, company A might be using this, company B might be using this, company C might be using this, and your company D might be using this, right? And if you're from any of the tool background, you will say, Baba, I cannot apply for a job, right? Remove that perception from your head. Any of the engine that you use, one engine knowledge you need to have, right? Mostly on AWS, this is not required. This is automated. But if you do traditionally, explicitly for you, Mahesh, where you're coming from, and all of you where you're coming from, I didn't mean to offend you, Mahesh, right? So if you're talking about traditional implementation, you may have to set up a VM and you have to create all this manually. You set it up, you configure, create this master node, configure with the slave node, all that circus you have to do. But on AWS, this work is automated. You have to learn any one language and that's it. Whichever company you go, whatever engine that they're using it, one language skill you have, you apply it and you start working on it. Likewise in DevOps also, right? There's 6 assembly lines, different tools that are available that you need to have experience on. If it is a traditional DevOps that you're focusing at, if it is AWS, Azure, all DevOps work is automated. So likewise on cloud, one cloud language, on cloud technology you need to learn, right? One more is Google here, Alibaba, something like this, and Windows, Linux, Docker, right? Kubernetes, again, Kubernetes will come here. So when I say Kubernetes, Kubernetes is an orchestration tool, right? Orchestration tool from Google, right? And these guys have similar tool is also available called Swamp Manager. The only difference between Swamp Manager and Kubernetes is the orchestration tool from Google is free, but Swamp Manager you have to pay for it, and this is developed by Docker, right? CloudFormation comes here. Terraform also comes here. But remember, anything that you use, even for a Kubernetes to be automated, one language knowledge you need to have. So language is pretty important. Right? So operating system, cloud, DevOps tools, automation in some language, these are the 5 things that you need to learn in order to succeed in today's world. Because automation is taking over, and as you could see here, if you can do any of the scripting with any of the configuration management tools that are available here, indirectly you can end up replacing hundreds of people in the market, right? See, you have two choices. Either you be in the military. If you're in the military, you get to kill people. If you're a civilian, you get to die. Military will kill you, right? So in IT world, if you're on another side of the chain where you're into automation, you kill so many people's job. If you're not on that side and if you're on an opposite side, somebody else will automate your work and you're dead. Are you with me? Right? So make sure that you put this in agenda. Pick up one of the scripts. So let's dive in. Puppet is ready. So let me log into Puppet console here. Username is admin and the password is Chef Automation. Okay. So there's a bootstrap note option also available. It'll tell you the procedure and how do you add nodes and other things. So make sure you follow. So this is also a Friday's assignment that you have to submit this before Friday. So let's start from Chef first. Now there are three options that are available in Chef before you get started, right? So first option is teach me everything. Second option is I'm familiar with Chef, but I need help getting started with Chef automation. Third is it's okay, I know what I'm doing. And definitely I don't know what I'm doing. Hence we'll start from teach me everything. Now, if you go to Teach Me Everything portal here, right, this is a free learning portal that is available, right, in partner with AWS, right, but AWS is not an exclusive partner, Azure is also. And if you see here, Chef on Microsoft Azure is also available, Chef on AWS is also available. You can do traditional infrastructure automation also here. And if I say view all, see, if you see, there are a lot of tracks that are available that you can pick up and learn from, right? But what I'm mostly interested in is Chef on Amazon Web Services. This is what I'm interested in. So click on continue. Now you have over 6 modules that are available and total module duration is 10 hours, right? 1 hour here, 2 hour here, total 3, right? 3 plus 5, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 12 hours, right? So overall 12 hours of training that is available here, and I want you to participate and I want you to complete all this, right? Start from basic and then manage node and couple of other options that are available. So follow these tutorials. It's a walkthrough guide. There are videos that are available, there are steps that are available. Follow all the steps and complete this lab and send me the screenshot. Let me put this link in the chat here. But don't worry, they will not ask you this in the examination, but they will ask you in your interview. Go ahead, buddy. Divi. Hey, Divi. You unmute. If you have unmuted, you ask questions. Otherwise, mute yourself. Okay. Wait, I'll give this link also. If you have spare time, you can quickly learn Chef yourself. All right. So once you're done with this, the next thing is I'm familiar with Chef. So by then you will be familiar. By learning basics, you'll be familiar on what exactly you're doing and what you're expected. So the next thing is a little advanced. So you will click on this. And this is a continuous automation use case, right? 4, 5, 9, and 10 hours of class. So this will teach you how do you scale, how do you automate to scale your applications, right? You can do infrastructure deployment such as provisioning EC2 instances, all that you can do. You can manage nodes, you can install something remotely, you can update, modify, right? Remember, as I told you in your Linux class, Linux is an ocean, you cannot swim. If you try to swim, you will drain, right? So I gave you cheat sheet where you had to memorize about 30-40 commands out of 5 or 6 topics, and that is all you need in order to perform day-to-day work, and that is all you need to crack your interview. So likewise, this 30 hours of overall workshop that you see here is all you need to crack your interview and get familiarized with Chef. And this is all you need to do for your day-to-day automation activity. Right, make sure that you click this link and you bookmark it. And then finally, it's okay, I know what I'm doing. So once you click this, you will see a graphical user interface, pretty much self-explanatory. If it has detected fail nodes, this will show up here. All the active or successful nodes will show up here. QuickBook changes, if you have a library of QuickBooks, you're making any frequent changes, that will show up here. If any workflow that you have changed or running, it'll show you various stages from here, right? An active workflow on what is happening, all that is available here. You can go to nodes. You can see nodes based on the status here, one node at a time, any node failure or notifications that you can configure and capture. Compliance, security perspective compliance, you can deploy it from here, right? Installing SSL certificate, OS hardening, all that you can do from here. And by the way, you have run command. I showed you in service delivery class where run command and Ansible and basic script could work. You can also use that. OpsWork you can completely shy away from. So how do you draft a workflow giving stages, right? First, provision an EC2 instance, install all the dependency, which is step 2. Step 3 is install your database middleware. Step 4 is run your application. All those workflows you can write here. And fifth thing is admin. You can create or you can give access to your colleagues if they are parallelly working. Pretty much the tool is self-explanatory. There's nothing much that you have in the tool. The whole magic here is here. Able to pick up a language and learn. And the guide that I have given you, it is covered in Ruby, and that will help you out to automate most of your tasks. So likewise, if I go back to Puppet, Puppet is the most nimble and linear version of software. It needs fewer hardware resources, half of the hardware resource, and supports almost double or more than double instances, right? So this is very light and simple graphic that you have. Number of nodes, packages, report, running jobs, events, right? The challenge with Puppet is, since it's an enterprise tool, you do not have any free contents that are available to learn, right? If you go and search in YouTube, every YouTube channel, every YouTube video will show you how to install Puppet, but it does not show you how do you write workflow. There are hardly a bunch of videos that I have seen that will show you how to write workflows in Puppet, right? And mostly Puppet contents and Puppet learning is not free. You may have to sign up for. So don't waste your time and money on Puppet by paying and learning. Take up Chef. Chef is easy to pick up and learn. Or you want Ansible, that also you can pick up and learn. But remember, tools does not matter, because moreover the tools have similar functionality. All it matters is how you write workflows. All it matters is how you write workflows. Guys, can you hear me? Did you miss anything? Hey, where did you go, man, Mahesh? You got my point? So make sure that you learn this, learn automation, right? I'll quickly delete it off. And remember, this is not free, right? So once you're done using it, make sure you come back and you delete it. Now let's discuss further. Now let's focus on CloudFormation, right? So have you heard a terminology called code as an infrastructure, infrastructure as a code? The redesign environment console is now available. We are completely redesigning by the console to improve the user. Try out the new and give us the feedback. Okay. So have you heard terminology called infrastructure as a code or code as an infrastructure? No. Okay. Somebody wants to guess? Yes, go ahead, Gokul, tell me. So Terraform is not an answer. What CloudFormation does is what Terraform does. For deploying instances, we program in Terraform and upload the code and it will deploy. That is absolutely correct. That's a right answer, Gokul. So those of you who did not understand, so when you say code as an infrastructure, instead of you creating an instance manually or able to create any other services manually, able to create database, network, DNS, instead of creating them manually, you can write a script, you can write a program, you can write a workflow, right, in a programmatical way. By following the programmatical way and plugging the program inside, Amazon will understand what exactly you want in form of automation. So it'll understand the script, it'll go and deploy it for you. So that is called code as an infrastructure. That means you give code to the cloud and cloud will build infrastructure for you. That is code as an infrastructure. And infrastructure as a code is reverse. If you have manually built an infrastructure and you would like to record or capture the configurations of those infrastructure and convert them back to a script, and you take it to another AWS account and run that script there, that is where you will do infrastructure as a code, where you take the entire infrastructure, you wrap it up as a code. Right? The first one is you give code, infrastructure is built. The second use case is infrastructure is built and the code is created out of it. And the first step is called CloudFormation. This is CloudFormation. This is cloud. This is called CloudFormer. Right? CloudFormer, something which is in past or something that is gone. Clear? Now let's do a couple of use cases here, right? In the first use case, I will try to create a stack, or we can go to designer on the left hand side. So if you see, there's nothing in my designer. And the best part about designer is you don't even have to write full code. 80 to 90% of the code, the system itself will write it. You only have to create hooks. You only have to create hooks, or otherwise most of the code writing, the CloudFormation tool itself will do. Right? Just to give an example here. Okay, so I'll drag a VPC here. I'm just gonna put my VPC, and if you could see here, it will be writing codes. If you see here, to start writing codes here. Um, I'll add host instance. Database instance, right? So if you see here, it by just dragging and dropping most of the code, it has pre-written for me. This is the power of CloudFormation. And Terraform does a lot of formation tools that exist in the internet today, where you can drag and drop the IT asset and it'll create a write-up for you, right? All you have to do is you have to go and create an hook. But in case of an AWS, both the languages are supported. Supports JSON also. You can also create hooks in YAML. YAML and JSON both are supported, right? So let me show you a couple of examples here. You can go to sample template. There are a lot of sample examples that are available here, right? LAMP single stack, Ruby on Rails, right? Couple of other multi A to Z stacks are available. Go and create database, WordPress, right? LAMP single stack, open, right? This is pretty simple here. It has a security group and it has an EC2 instance, right? Design is out of date, right? Hit refresh, right? And it has all formed into a script here. Now let's do a couple of other use cases also. If you go to sample script, let's pick up this, open. And if you see this, a script is available here, right? A single drag and drop. And if you see this all pointing arrows, these are all the hooks that are created in the script here. Now, if I run this, it'll go and deploy the RDS database. It'll go and deploy EC2 instances, load balancers, and everything else, right? There are a couple of more that I want to show you where you can also find scripts. AWS sample CloudFormation templates. Sample templates, right? Most of the use cases AWS has already covered. They have created most of the automation already, right? You don't even have to drag and drop now. You can pick up pre-returns also for most of the use cases, right? So let me pick this one, Amazon EC2 instance security group. And if I click this in view in designer, because I've logged into AWS already, it'll navigate through CloudFormation for me. Right? See, same example here. Let me move this in Mumbai. Right? Now let's assume that you want to create this. All you have to do is click on create stack. Now the script that is available here, it'll go and create an EC2 instance and this security group. Right? Everything is pre-selected. Just click on next. It is asking me for a stack name. Demo stack 1. T2 micro. Key pair. Next. Next again. And then you click on create. So what it has done is it has taken the script that you have provided, is creating an infrastructure for you. Let's do one more example here. Okay, not bad. It says created, completed. Output, still nothing. Creation in progress, event, stacks, stack set. Okay, it is in progress. So let it create. We'll come back to this in a moment here. Let's try one more. And if you see, this is little sophisticated here. Again, you have a security group. Again, you have an EC2 instance, but this time you have an IP address with that, right? So let me create this also. Next. Demo stack 2. T2 micro. Let me switch to Mumbai. Next. Next again. Next. Refresh. Right, the first stack is done creating. So let's go back and investigate. Services EC2 leave. So instances, and there you go. The first instance is created. The second instance is yet to create. And if you go to Elastic IP, it has assigned an IP already. Right, and if you go back to security group, I should see two new security groups here. Security group, and the first one is demo stack 2 and demo stack 1. You're getting my point here. So this is code as an infrastructure. In this exercise, I've taken the ready-made code that was written and I ran. Right. In the second example, what I'm going to do is I'm going to do infrastructure as a code where I'm going to scan the entire infrastructure and copy. So mostly enterprises do not want to use this or want to block it. Because if you've seen in the movies and all, right, one guy will log into the server, start scanning everything, copy that in the pen drive and leave. So CloudFormer or infrastructure as a code is similar to that. When you scan the tool, it can scan the entire infrastructure and see what exactly it is running. And it can create a blueprint, and you can also download it and you can go. So for example, if you're working in Ola or Uber, you can scan the entire AWS infrastructure, copy in the pen drive and leave and re-replicate that elsewhere. Right. So let's go back and do that then. CloudFormation. I'll go to design, and then I'll go to sample templates, and there is a last tool that is available called CloudFormer. Right, it's basically telling how the CloudFormer will work, what resources it will access. I'll go ahead and launch it. Next. So remember, if you notice this time it is asking you to set a password here, and this is very important because when you're running this in the environment, you don't want others to use this tool. So therefore you can put this password protected. Default next. Next again. So I will tick this option stating that you please create an IAM role, which gives the capability for the software to scan the entire infrastructure. Creating a role here, resources. So let's give a couple of minutes for the system to create. Hey Divi, you're not watching the screen, man. You have joined only with audio. This is taking longer than usual. Hmm. I'm so sorry guys, this is taking longer than usual. I'm not sure whether this is creating or what. It says in progress here. Output events. EC2. Launch instance. Okay, it is launching right now, and this is launching as a T2 small. Still initializing. Mm, I think this is stuck at web server here. Refresh. Okay, it says successful. Still progress output. Stack. Refresh. Okay, it completed. Output. So it has created a URL here. So just have to copy this URL and I'll run this in the browser here. Now what this will do is it will start an appliance which will scan the infrastructure. So there's no SSL certificate that is available. Hence I'm going to just ignore and continue with this. The username I gave admin, password was also admin. Okay, so it is asking which region would you like to scan. So I'll do it in Mumbai. That is analyzing my entire account, but mostly it will show resources that exist in Mumbai. Select all resources. Continue. Okay, so it started from Route 53, and if you see skill-labs, Adnan.team, there's a local DNS that it has seen, all the other records that you have. So basically it is copying the Route 53 configuration. So if I take this and if I rerun this in the somebody else's AWS account, this will go and create all of that there. You don't have to manually create this. Continue. VPC, if you have multiple VPCs, that will show up here. By right now it is default VPC. I'm gonna pick this default VPC up, and two subnets, all the additional resources that are actively running in my account is what it is showing. Just to keep the diagram full, I will select everything, but mostly when you're doing in production, you have to pick and choose from the list. Whichever is relevant to your project, you pick that, and anything else that is not relevant, you have to leave. So the public IP address, this was created at the time of instance creation. So the IP address is available here. I'm going to pick up this IP. And Beanstack, I think I forgot to delete Beanstack in Mumbai region. Go to Beanstack here. Delete application. Right, so my bad. But it has picked, I'll remove this Beanstack. Continue. These are all Beanstack versions that I have, code pipeline. Elastic Beanstalk application versions. Continue. And two instances, AWS 2 instances that are running, and this has been identified by instance ID. All my S3 buckets are also scanning here. Create. Subnet database create. One SNS topic that I had created for notification. These are the security groups that it is picking up from Mumbai region. Right. So whatever it is scanning right now, whatever is existing presently running is what it is showing up here. CloudWatch alarms. Later I'll go and delete them. and a complete heads up on what exactly I have selected. So whatever junk I had, left off junk, and along with 2 instances and IP, I've selected it. So I'll say continue. So this is my script here, right? If you see, it is based on the information that it has scanned. It has prepared the script here. This is infrastructure as a code, and then I'll put this script in the CloudFormation directory, and I'll put today's date, 11-12. Okay, something like this, and I'll say save template. Now it says launch stack. So what it will do is it will launch a stack with the script again. And the page are you looking for does not exist. Okay, go back to stack. Designer, file, open, Amazon S3 storage, and it is asking for select a template. So there's a CloudFormation and there's a template here. I will select this template. This is the template that I created now, and I'll say open. And there you go. It has scanned the entire infrastructure, and this is infrastructure as a code. So whatever junk that are associated with typically doesn't have to be with this diagram is also selected here. I just wanted to show you the holistic way of how it can go, and in detail it can also capture the relations here. So this method is called infrastructure as a code, where existing infrastructure can be scanned and converted to a code and diagram. The previous method that I discussed was code as an infrastructure, where you can drag and drop and create a code, and then you can write a hook, or you can start writing a script, or you can take a ready-made script and you can plug it in. It'll go and build the infrastructure for you. Are you boys clear? Is it making sense? Day, you have come after training, man, Mahesh. You're working all right. So this concludes today's lecture, right? Your next lecture is scheduled on Friday. Friday we are doing VPC plus VPN, right? Requesting you to complete your chef lab and requesting you to complete your network lab that I have given you assignment, and send it to me before Friday, right? And I want everybody to be present. VPC and plus VPN is a very important topic, right? With that said, if you guys have any questions, I will take them now, or otherwise I will see you on Friday.